Today's going to be the first video in my series on how to make a game, start to finish. Brah. So we'll do the lobby. That's the best place to start, I think. We're going to come over here. We'll initiate the game. This guy right here is on my phone, right? So I got him right here. I'll go ahead and click to start the battle by pressing the green button. And then I'm going to join the battle. Boom, you're in the queue. So that's a personalized surface GUI. I thought that would be a nice touch. We have a tag system in the collection system for collecting everybody who's in a queue. And there we go. We're going to make a simple map. Boom, we're at the map. We can't get back yet, but I thought this would be a great place to start for our series. Let's go ahead and make our lobby. I have my Roblox studio opened up, and I am going to start with a base plate. And this is going to be my lobby. So it doesn't really need to be as big as what the default is. Let's go over to our Explorer window right here on the right. If you don't have your Explorer and your Properties window, you can go to View, and then these buttons here will make the Explorer and the Properties disappear. All right, so we have our Explorer. Let's hit the workspace. Let's open it up. Let's select base plate. I'm going to change the size of this base plate. Right down here it says size, and it's 2048 by 16 by 2048. That's huge. Let's just make this 200 by 16. That's the height by 200. There we go. We got a smaller base plate. That's all we need for a lobby. You're welcome to make it bigger if you want. Now I'm going to save this off so you guys can get a copy of it. I'll hit the file. I'll go down to publish to Roblox, and we'll call this the Purge Battle. The Purge Battle, and I'll do one for each video. So this is going to be the Purge Battle 1. And we'll just go ahead and turn Team Create off. I don't have any other team members. Just doing this myself, right? Hit the Create. And there we go. Now we're going to need some sort of selector to join the battle. So I think I'll go this direction and go to Home. I'm going to hit Part. This is going to be the stand that holds the button where you could press it and then join the battle. So I'll call that stand, right? And let's change the size of that. You could change it this way, right? You could go like that, but I'm going to change it here because I want precision. So we'll do size. I'll keep that 4. 6 was good. And then 2. That's about what I did just by guessing. I want this to be touching the ground. So I'll hit the move. I'm going to turn collisions on, and that's going to allow me to bump things up against, right? And now for position, let me go ahead and center this. I have this at 3.2. I want it centered in my lobby. So instead of 3.2, let's see what 0 gets us for the X, right? The X is that red, the red arrow, back and forth. Sweet. And then Y is 2.99999. That's because it's not exact on Roblox Studio when you go to make a part. So I'll just go ahead and make that 3. That's not going to change anything visible. And then moving back on the Z, that's that blue arrow. I'll just make that like -20. Cool. And now when we join the game, we should be looking at that. Let's go ahead and put a button on our stand so we can press it to join a battle. I'm going to go to Part right here. I'm on the Home tab, if you haven't noticed. Part. I'm going to hit a cylinder. Now, I want to rotate this cylinder. I'm going to turn collisions off so that it doesn't jam up against the ground there when I'm turning it. I'm going to hit this rotate button, and you see these little flanges in here. Those are set at 15-degree increments. You can do that by going Model, Rotate, 15. And you can change this. So you could change it to like 5 degrees. I like 15 so you don't get any weird angles like 91 degrees or something. So I'll just go ahead and flip that. Oh, look at that, 90 degrees. Let's change the size. We can do scale. We can shrink this down. Notice this is moving in 0.1 increments. So on the move, under the model, I have this checked. This turns that on and off, that snap on and off. So I have these on. This is 0.1 studs. I can move that down to like maybe 0.2. You would think, there we go. It would update here on size. It did. That's cool. So size of that part, let's call that button. I'm just going to click on that. The size is 0.2 by 2 by 2. We don't want to make it too small, but I think instead of the 2 and the 2 for the Y and the Z, I'm going to make it 1.5 and 1.5 because we want people on the phone to be able to press it. Let's go ahead and change that color so it's easy to see. Change it to whatever you want. I'll make it green. Green's easy to see. And I want that centered on my stand. So I'm going to go to my stand, click on it. I'm going to go to position under C frame. Do a Control C to copy or right click and copy. Go to my button, C frame position, Control V or click and paste. There we go. It's inside. I hit my move. Pull this out. I'm going to turn collisions on so this will bump up against. There we go. Let's group our button and our stand into a model. So I have button selected already. I'm going to Control click stand. I'm going to right click and then group as model. There we go. And a model is a special type of folder. It's got some extra stuff like world pivot and things like that. So let's go ahead and name this sign in. I'm going to open up that model. And then on this stand, I'm going to do a surface GUI or surface GUI. Let's go to our stand, hit the plus, hit an S, surface GUI. Let's go ahead and press that. Don't hit screen GUI, surface GUI. There we go. All right, now on the surface GUI, hit the plus. I'm going to add a text label. And you'll be like, where's my text label? Oh, it's on the front. But I want the person to see it right when he comes in the game. So on surface GUI, go to face, and I'll put it on the back. All right, that looks pretty good. Let's change this name to something like join label or something like that. How about that? Join LBL. All right. Now, I want to make this a little bit bigger. So on my join label, I'll go to size, and this is in pixels. So we have two groups of numbers, an X and a Y, an X group and a Y group. That scale is the percentage of the parent component. So I can change that. I can just do it up here on the top, and you don't have to do the curly brackets. You can do like 1 for 100% of the X, and then 0 for the pixel offset. And then maybe I want to go 30% down on the Y. So 0.3, 0 pixel offset. I hit enter. You can see all that updated. That's pretty good. Let's make that text bigger and change it a little bit. Maybe change the font. So, here's font face while I'm here. I'm going to press font face. Make it whatever you want. I did bangers. And we'll change the text. How about AddToQueue, AddToQueue, and let's make it bigger. Text scaled. You can just hit that. That's going to make it as big as it can up to a certain point based on how much space it has. You could also do the text size for a specific font size. Now I'm just going to change the color. And while we're here, you know what? Let's do text stroke transparency. That gives it a little outline around the letters. So I'll go to text stroke transparency. 1 is transparent. You can't see it. Let's make it a 0. You can see how that got a little bit thicker. Let's change the color of our text stroke. That's the outline color. Make it yellow or something. Yeah, yellow is good. You can see there's a little yellow around it. And maybe the background. I'm going to scroll up. Then I'm going to go to my background color 3. And I'll make it purple. Looking good. Now, the thing with this is I want to be able to customize this for people who already clicked on the button, right? So if somebody clicks on the button, it's going to tell them they're in the queue. That way they can click it again if they want to get out of the queue. We can't do that with this surface GUI right here because that's server side. What we can do is grab that surface GUI, drag it down here to starter GUI. It disappeared, but that's all right. With the surface GUI selected, under starter GUI, hit Adorne, right? And then we're going to go up to our stand, click that, voila, there you go. Now you have a client-side component that everybody can see, but you could change it separately for different players, for different clients. Now let's get this button working. I'm going to go over here to the Explorer under the sign in. I'm going to click that button. I'm going to hit the plus sign, and then I'm going to get a click detector, or you can do like CL. There we go, click detector. On the click detector, I'm going to add a script. Hit the plus, add a script, a regular script. There we go, regular script. And we'll give it a name, something like AddToQueue. AddToQueue. Let's get rid of this print statement right here. And I'm going to make a variable for the click detector. So I'll say local, I'll call it clicker, and that's just script.parent, right? There's our script, AddToQueue, there's your parent, that's the click detector. Sweet. I'm going to make this a little bigger so you can see it easier. Yeah, good. And then we'll get our clicker, and let's do a mouse click. Now what's cool about this is this will pick up the touched events on the phone, so the tap event. So if you tap on it, it's going to fire, even if it's not a mouse. Let's connect that, whether it's a tap or a mouse click, to an internal function or an anonymous function, because there's no name. So that's why I call that anonymous function. I didn't make that up. All right, and we'll do print player that clicked equals player.name. All right, so we got to test this out. If we come over here to our workspace and we press that button, we should get a printout. If we go to view, output, right, we should get a printout down here. I'll go ahead and clear that. And I also want to make sure this stuff is anchored so the button doesn't fall. So I'm going to hit my button, and then I'm going to control click stand. Let's go down here to where it says anchored. There. Click on that so nothing falls down. Right? Anchored keeps it in place. We'll hit our play. We're going to try it out. We should get the player that clicked was, that should be me. Something similar to that. Let's click. Boom. Player that clicked equals Simtac Gamer 7. All right. That's pretty good. And you can see it keeps firing right here. ×4. Let's turn this off, and we're going to add to our script. All right, I'm going to close this window just so we have more room for coding. Go to AddToQueue, open that back up. Now, in order to determine whether people are in the queue or not, we're going to use the collection service. Let's get a reference to that. We'll say a local. I'll just call it CS for collection service. Say game : get service collection service. Nice. And the collection service is going to gather up things that are tagged, and you can tell it what type of tag you want it to find. And should we get like a place name for our battle too? We'll do that soon because we want to have more than one sign in. Let's go down here. We already know this is working, so I will delete that print statement, and then I'm going to say local tag equals CS. I'm going to check to see if we have a certain tag. And I think what I'm going to do is I am going to use the place name for the tags. So I'm going to say place name here. It's complaining. See, that's red because we didn't give our sign in a place name. Let's do that now. Let's put this, how about under sign in, hit the plus. I'm going to add a string value. That way, when we make more of these, this is easy to change. I'll say place name, right? And then down here for the value for the place name, I'm going to write purge battle. Purge battle. Cool. Now we're going to get a variable place name equals, well, we got to get that right here. And here's our clicker. So we'll say clicker, and up a level, that's the button, right? If we go up one more level, right? Clicker, button, sign in. Then we go down to place name. And the place name has a value. So let's go ahead and do a dot value. That's going to say purge value. Now I'm going to look for a tag that has a place name of purge value. That's what's going to determine who's going, or purge battle. That's who's going to go to the purge battle. People who are tagged with purge battle. Nobody's tagged yet, right? We got to write more code. So if the tag exists, then they're already in the queue. So you're going to take them out of the queue, right? They already pressed it. We'll say print remove player in the queue. And now we can put the player name so we could do some troubleshooting. And if they find the tag, if we find the tag, it does exist. We have a tag that says the place name of purge battle. Let's go ahead and do another print statement. We'll say add player in the queue, or to the queue. How about that? To the queue. Right, and then we'll put his player name, player.name, right, like that. All right, so this isn't sufficient. This is just a printout. We actually have to do something with the tags. Should we add the tag first? Right, we're going to press it. What happens when we press it? We get added to the queue. We do collection service, add tag. Pretty easy. We're going to tag the player. We're going to tag the player with a tag called place name. How do we pop it off the player if he hits that button again? Well, remove tag, right? Not that hard. Let's do player and then place name. So that's the tag you're going to remove. You can have more than one tag. So when we have more than one place, we're going to have to check to see what tags are on the player, because they might be queued for another place. But we could just do that right here. We could get the tags on the player and then check the different place names. And that way you could say, nope, you're already in a queue, or you could just like take them out of that queue and put them in this queue, whatever you want to do. Now that's cool and all, but we can't have the players reading the output file for instructions of what to do in the game. So if I go over to my workspace, I'm going to update the information right here. Ooh, where's that at? We put that down here under the starter GUI. How do we get there? We're going to use a remote event. So go to replicated storage, and we're going to make a doorway between the server to the client. And we're going to do that in replicated storage by hitting that plus and adding a remote event. Or you could do like REM. Oh, there you go. Not remote function, remote event. There we go. There's a remote event. And let's call it, how about purge battle RE, right? So this is going to handle the remote events for the purge battle. We get down to our surface GUI. We have our join label. Let's add a script down here. We'll say local script. And then we're going to say something like AddToQueue or something. AddToQueue message. How about that? Now let's just do loc for a local script. So you need to know that, so you can know that that's a local script. All right. We're going to get a reference to our purge battle RE, right? We're going to do a reference to replicated storage first. I'll call that RS, replicated storage, game, get service, replicated storage, and under replicated storage, we have our purge battle RE, the remote event for the purge battle. RS colon, wait for child. There it is, purge battle RE. We're going to have to update, if I go over here, this right here is that join label. So it's the parent of my script. AddToQueeueLoc, right down here. Make another variable, and this will be our sign, right? The label. I'll just call it sign. And that's just script dot parent. Yeah, there it is. All right, what else? Let's get, should we get the player service? I don't think we need that yet. right here, let's do our purge battle RE. We are going to listen to the on client event. We haven't fired it yet. We got to go back to our button script and fire that off. But let's get ready to catch it. We're going to do another anonymous function, a function with no name. I'm going to say is in queue. All right, and that's going to be the variable that we pass to our client. And that's going to say whether we're in the queue or not. If is in queue is true, if is in queue is true, then we'll do sign.text, and let's change the text. Let's say something like, you are in the queue, space, keep that speech quote. Now we're going to append the player's name. ... is going to append two strings. It connects two strings. So then we'll just do player dot name, right? And I got a little space in here. Oh, but we don't have the player name. That's why I wanted the player service. Let's do this. Let's do local players equals game : get service players, and then I get a player, right? This is the local script, so it knows what player is playing. We use the players dot local player value. That's not going to work in a server script or in a regular script. Only works on local scripts. All right, now we'll be able to say his name. We'll be able to see his name on our sign. Well, maybe they're not in the queue. So if they're not in the queue, like if we leave the queue, right? If this is false, we might want to get out. We might want to see that we stand no chance of winning and then just quit. So we'll say sign text equals, we'll just put the old message, right? Add to, what do we call it? AddToQueue, I think it was. AddToQueue, right? AddToQueue. All right, now we have to fire this off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these two lines of code, and then I'll do a copy. I'm going to go back to my click detector, AddToQueue, not the loc, but just AddToQueue. I guess that's a little bit confusing. I don't know. I probably should give them better names. There we go. And I just pasted our reference to replicated storage. It's going to be exactly the same on the server side. And then our purge battle RE right there. When someone gets the tag, well, when they get it removed, we can send a message. So we'll say purge battle RE, and that's a : fire client. Well, you have to say what client to fire to. So we'll do player. And then the second argument is going to be the is in queue argument. So that will be false, right? Because we're getting out of the queue. They just popped the tag. We just popped the tag off. Down here, this is where we join. It's going to be exactly the same, but is in queue is going to be true, right? So we look at that local one, AddToQueueLoc. Notice there's only one parameter here. That player gets popped off when it finds out where to go, right? So this is a local script. We already knew where it went. It went to the right person, and then we're just going to get that true or false right here. So we have two variables right here, right? And we only have one on the other side. It's going to be that one or this one, right? Depending on which one you're firing off. Let's try it out. Let's hit the play and see if our little sign updates. All right, so I'm in the game. I'm going to come over here, and then let's check for errors. View output. I'm going to see if I can read that sign when I click it. Oh, look at that. You are in the queue. Simtech Gamer 7. And we got the printout too. Cool. Can I leave the queue? I'm going to hit it again. Oh, yeah, I'm out of the queue. Remove player from queue. Right? We're not really queued yet because we're not firing off our teleportation stuff. We're not doing a countdown, but the collection service is essentially the queue that we're going to be using, the list of the players. So everybody who clicks that, if they don't click it again, are going to be tagged. They're all going to be shipped over when it's time to do the teleport. Let's go ahead and turn this off. Now we're going to work on the backstop where it has the name of the battle. We're going to do the countdown and the teleport. I'm going to shut this down right here. I'm going to close this window right here so we have more room. Now let's get to the countdown and the teleportation part. We're going to need some sort of sign back here to give the countdown and let people know that there's a queue going and where it's going to. So I'm just going to do another block. This is going to be like a wall. The part itself isn't that important. I think I'll call it wall. So part, I'll just rename that to wall. I'll drag that into my sign in and we're going to make it bigger. Let's go down here, size. How about 24 on the X, maybe 12 studs high. And then I'll just keep it 2 studs thick. Let's make sure that that's not in the ground. So I'll hit the move, pull that up. Ooh, collisions are on. So boom, I was all right. If collisions are on, it's not going to form inside the base plate, but I didn't notice that. We can leave that. We can leave it on. All right, let's change our position. Let's go to, I like that, 0, 6, and maybe make it a little closer to our stand. How about -25? What does that look like? Yeah, because this might be like a whole walled in area in a real game, right? We're just keeping it simple. Now I need a surface GUI here, and I'm going to do almost exactly the same, but I'm going to keep that surface GUI, surface GUI, on the server part because everybody can see it. I don't need to put it on starter GUI. All right, so that surface GUI, I'm going to put another text label, and then we can't see it. It's on the other side, right? Let's go ahead and get face. We'll change that to back. It's right there. And what should we call this? Should we call this something like purge label, battle label? That's better. Battle LBL. All right, I want to keep all of this kind of as neutral as possible so that when we make another map, we could just cut and paste a lot of this, change like the place name, maybe 1 or 2 other things, right? Like the remote event. But we want to keep it so we don't have to do a lot of updating. Let's go to our battle label on position. That's good. That's up in the upper corner, the 0, 0, 0, 0. And then size. Let's do the same as we did in our other thing for our AddToQueue. Let's do 100% of the X, 0 pixel offset, and then maybe 0.3, so 30% down on the Y, 0 pixel offset. Looking good. We'll go down a little bit here. Go to front face. Let's change that to bangers. Oh, I didn't get bangers. Bangers. There it is. And we'll go to text scaled. Looking good. Let's get our text stroke transparency. Make that a 0 so we can see it. And then that makes it look a little fuzzier. We'll put like a yellow background on that one too. A yellow outline on that. Kind of can see it. Let's change the background of the sign. I think in the demo I made that like an olive color. So under background color 3, we'll hit that color. I think I used that one. Not that that's perfect or anything, right? But it's good enough. Oh, let's change this. Let's call it something like the Purge Battle. I'm going to go back down to text. And instead of label, under the text, I'm calling this the Purge Battle with an exclamation mark. We're going to need a sound too. So let's go to our toolbox. And then I'm going to go to Creator Store, and then I'll go to audio, and I like to do like announcement stuff. How about SCP announcement? Yeah, what do we got? That's kind of long. What about this one?
Don't forget, today is pizza day. So
That's pretty good. That'll work. Just some. That's not what I had in the demo, but just something that will be a filler for now. We can always upgrade. Now, if you want the sound to have a roll off in your world, you put it on a base part, or I think attachment too. You could do attachment, but if you want it to be throughout the entire lobby the same, you put it on something that's not a base part, something in the workspace. Like if I do the sign in and I hit insert, right? This announcement's going to be heard everywhere equally. You won't have the sound roll off. If you want that, put it on the part. I think I'm just going to keep it on the sign. I'm just going to make this simpler. I'm going to get rid of a lot of this text to just call it like announcement. There we go. We don't need it to be that fancy. And before we start coding, there's one more thing I want to do. I want to create a place to teleport to because I'm going to need the ID. So let's go to View, right? And then we're going to hit this little icon with the cog on it. It's the Asset Manager. There we go. Places. Open that up. So this is the lobby, the Purge Battle 1. I can go ahead and right click down here, add a new place. This is going to be my Purge map. Let's call it that. Rename. Purge map. How is that? Now this is going to have an ID on it. We're going to need this for our code. We can go ahead and get that now. I just right clicked, copy ID to clipboard. I'm going to do all the coding in this AddToQueue script. It's a server script under the click detector if you lost it. Boom, open that up. I'm going to close this asset manager right now so we have more room. Then I'm going to get my ID. Let's do local place ID. And it should be like purge place ID, but that's good enough. And then we'll do a control V. We'll place our ID right there. Actually, to make this more configurable, I think what I'm going to do is right here under the sign in, I'm going to do, we could do a number value or we could do a string value. You could read this in as a string or a number and it'll work. Let's try a string. I'm always afraid we'll get like a leading 0 and that'll mess things up. So that's the string value I just added. Let's call this place ID. That way when we're making another map, we'll be able to change that easily. In fact, these are configuration parameters. Let's go to our sign in, hit the plus, and then do a CON for configuration. And where'd that go? Down here. All right, that's good. I'm going to get my place ID, drag it into the configuration, and then I'm going to get my place name, because that's also configuration. Drag it into configuration. Now we have to fix that place name. Let's do that. What do we have here? We have a lot of this parent stuff going on. I don't really like that. I think I'm going to get the sign in model, right? The sign in. And then we'll do clicker, because we have the clicker. That's the script.parent. This is the button, which is the parent of the clicker. And then the parent of that is the sign in, right? So we still have that parent stuff. So we got our script, goes to the clicker, goes to the button, goes to the sign in, but perhaps it's not quite as hard to understand. I'm going to get rid of this right here and write sign in. And then we have our configuration. And then under the configuration, right, we got sign in, configuration, we have our place name dot value. And then right here, I'll do a control C. This, oh, you know what, before we do that, let's go ahead and copy this number. We're going to lose it. I know I'm going to mess things up. Let's go to place ID and then value. Plop that number right in there. That number goes right in there. That was a little careless of me. That would have been bad on the video. And then I'll do this again. I'm going to copy this again. Control C, Control V, and then we got our place ID dot value. So now we can get that. And then when we go to update this stuff, we're going to look under configuration. We could just put the names, right? And then a remote event. That's still kind of hanging out there. We might need to do something with that, but I think we're all right. All right. So now let's go down here. And we're going to do a loop, right? We're going to check to see if anybody's in queues. If somebody's in a queue, we are going to initiate a little announcement and then start doing a countdown, right? And you could put a minimum number of people in here too. I don't think I'll do that though, especially for testing, because it's hard to test with multiple people. Now, whenever you do a while true do, don't forget to get a wait in there. We can go ahead and do like a 1 second wait. How's that? So if anybody presses our big green button to join the queue, they get tagged and the collection service can pick them up. So let's make a variable. I'll just call it LST for list. And I'm going to use the collection service get tagged. So it's going to get everybody who's tagged with our place name, right? And then let's print it out too, just to see if we have people in there. So I'll say print LST equals LST. All right, I'm going to move the code up a little bit, and we're going to fill out this list, or this while loop. So if there's a list, right, if it exists, well, it's going to exist. It might be empty, but I'll just put that there just in case. So if it exists, if it's not null, and the number of members in the list is greater than 0, we can start a queue. We're going to need to play our sound. How do we get the sound? Let's put a variable up here so it's easy to change. Let's call it SND for sound. And where's our sound? It's right on the sign in, right? Look at that. We made that variable. That's pretty convenient. And then it's just announcement. Cool. So we got our sound. Come back here. Let's play our sound. SND play. All right. And then we're going to do a countdown. Right? We're going to do a little bit of a countdown. We'll say for I equals 10, comma, down to 1 in steps of -1, we are going to update this battle label. We're going to need a variable for that. For now, let's just do this and we'll test things out because we moved a lot of things around. Let's say countdown equals I. And when we're doing a countdown, we're implying that it's going to be 1 count per second. So we'll put a wait in there. Let's go ahead and play this. See what it's looking like. All right, so let's go to View, Output. I am getting this list in the output window. There's nothing in it. There's open and close curly brackets. If you're not getting that, if you're getting something that says table, whatever, go to these 3 dots. Hit log mode, right? If you're in log mode, you're going to get that table thing. If you hit it again, uncheck, that's what I should have said, uncheck, then you're going to get the values of your table or your list. We call it a list. It's actually a table, right? Let's go up here and see if we're going to add ourselves to the list when we hit the button. Look at that. Now the sound took too long. I don't like that. I'm going to find another sound off camera and I'm just going to swap it out, call it announcement. But if you hear something different the next time, that's what's happening. All right, so we're still in the queue. We're not teleporting or anything. We're getting our countdown. I'm going to click it again. It says I'm removed from the queue. Let's just check. There it is. It's an empty list. Cool. Let's continue filling out our loop. So I turned the player off and I am in the AddToQueue, the server-side script, under the sign-in. I'm going to go up to the top. I'm going to get a variable for the wall, for this Surface GUI battle label right here, that green one that says the purge queue. So how do I do that? I can go to the sign. Well, let's get a variable for it. Let's call this battle label. And now we'll get our sign-in. The sign-in, there's a wall. On the wall, there's a Surface GUI. On the Surface GUI, there's a battle label. Nice. Let's go back down now that we have that variable. And instead of just printing in our output window, we could go ahead and update the sign. We could say battle label dot text equals the string concatenator, place name, string concatenator, and then I'll put a space here because this doesn't add spaces, right? So then I'll say is starting in another space. Let's go ahead and make this a little bigger, but I'm going to have to go to the next line. And I'll do a tab in string concatenator. Do we have seconds? I string concatenator speech quotes seconds. I know we're going to want to know how many people too, right? With one space, string concatenator, the number of people in the list, string concatenator, and then I'll just say players. How's that? So it says the purge battle is starting in, let's say like 10 seconds with 3 players. That's what it's going to look like, something like that. And then we'll wait our second. Now, someone might get out of the queue before this countdown finishes, and they're not going to want to be teleported, but it also might just wipe out the queue. There might have just been one person in there. So let's go ahead and do a list equals CS, and now we'll get tagged again. We'll look for the place name, and then check if the number of elements is equal to 0. Then let's break from the loop, right? Everybody's gone. And then what else are we going to do? We'll get down here. This is the end of the for loop. If we get to the end of the for loop, then we can do our teleporting. Might as well do it now, right? Let's do if number in the list. We got to check again just to make sure, because we could have just broke right here, right? Then we get down here. We got to make sure greater than 0. If the number of people are greater than 0, we'll update the battle label.text to equal teleporting, because it takes a couple seconds to teleport, right? So nobody's going to know what's going on if we don't give a message. And then let's make this a private server that the whole group goes to. So we are going to get a local code right now, and it's going to expire as soon as we exit this if block. But everybody in the queue is going to be gone. So it's okay. We just get a new one every time. We'll do the teleportation service. Ooh, I don't have a variable for that. It's red. Let's go up here again to the top. And then let's get the teleportation service. Local TS equals game get service T, right? Teleport service. I always call it teleportation service. It's teleport service. All right, we'll continue where we left off down here to TS. Now we're going to get a reserve server code. So I'll do the reserve server. We got to put the place ID in there. We haven't checked that yet. Make sure that works. And then TS teleport to private server. That's pretty good. And then you're going to put the place ID in there. You're going to put your code in there. And then you're going to put the list of players. And then let's wait 6 seconds, right? Because it takes a little bit to teleport. So we're going to tie everything up, wait, make sure everybody's gone. And then when we get down to here, right above that wait, below that wait, I'm sorry. Should we do it below? Yeah, I'll give it another second. We'll do the battle label.text equals the purge. I always do else. Battle, right? Just reset it. And now when somebody else comes in and initiates the queue, this isn't going to fire. This whole if statement is not going to fire if the list is empty, right? So this will just loop until somebody comes along, gets tagged with the place name, and then it's going to start. Now, we can't actually test this in Roblox Studio. We need to save this off and bring up Roblox Player, because you can't do teleporting in the studio. You're going to get an error. We do not have to go to Home, Game Settings, Security, right? None of this has to be set. This is for third-party teleports. In-game is fine. All right, let's go to Roblox Studio on our website and play our game. All right, so I'm at my Roblox homepage. I'm going to go to Create. I'll look for my game. There we go, Purge Battle 1. Let's go ahead and click on it. View in Roblox. And then I'm going to hit play. I'm going to pause the video because it's going to take a second or two to start up. All right, so we're in the game. We're in the player. I'm going to hit F9 so that I can see output. Make sure there's nothing going wrong. I can't. Oh, there we go. Sometimes this doesn't move very well. Just hit server right here. There's our list, right? And it is in log mode. Let's go over to our Purge Battle button. You can see everything. Hit the queue. There we go. And that's my new sound, right? So there we go. And 7, 6, 5. We should have made it shorter for testing, but we're about ready to go. Teleporting. Wait for it. Now, if you got an error, I'm going to show you what to do. It's just kind of a funny Roblox thing. There, we're in our other world. I'm in the other world. If you got the error, let me show you how to fix that. I'm just going to go leave, and then I'm going to pause the video while I clean this up. So if you got that error code 773 or whatever it is, you might be on the home tab here. Go to the view tab, and then right here, asset manager, click that, and then drag it around if you have to. Open up the purge map, double click, open it up, right? That's the place that we added. It's going to take a minute. I'm just going to pause the video while it's opening up. All right, so it's open. There's nothing in this world. You could drop a brick or whatever, and we have no way of getting back yet. We haven't handled that situation. But open this, go to File, Publish to Roblox, close it, and then go to your other game, Publish to Roblox, and then try again. I'm going to do one more test, and I'm going to go to Game Settings. I'm going to make the permissions. You can do it friends or public, but I want to do it with 2 players to see if we both get teleported, right? That's what you got to check for. And you should do other stuff too. Make sure you can get out of the queue, but we'll handle that as we move along. All right, so I can play this on my alt now. I'm going to go to Roblox. I'm going to test it again. All right, so I got my alt. My alt's on the phone. We'll have the alt initiate the battle. There we go. Now that changed for him. That AddToQueue changed for him with his name, but not for SimTech Gamer 7. But I just added myself. We should both teleport. Here we go. And we're at the purge map. Look at that. We're both here. Now, no one else should be able to get in here because the code's already gone. This is our private server. And then we could just fight to the death. We need weapons and stuff. Maybe in the next video, we could fly in on an airplane and jump out. Maybe make an island. I don't know. I think that might have been done already. I will see you in the next video. We'll build on this.